Action!
Jason Turner, a common man who stitched together his shattered life through self-realization. For 25 long years, he existed in a world of drugs and criminal activities.
First place to smoke drugs ever.
He reached a stage where he couldn't carry on that dreaded path and started walking back to life. He then helped people who had similar fate and took them on that journey to life.
It just encourages you to do what you sort of doubt in your own head, like, you know. He's a very encouraging person.
And he's been one of the people that's been instrumental in my recovery. He has been a great friend and confidant, not only him but also his wife.
Within 3 years, Jason has successfully established his film production company. Here is the story of Jason, and this is his journey to destiny.
I suppose my first drug, really, the drug of no choice, because there was all no choices, was cannabis. And it was over there on this bank, very behind us, you know, a couple of drags with a few people that kind of. And I remember walking back to my mum's house and looking out the window and laughing, getting my first fit of the giggles, laughing at them, and then ended up kind of marching back over. And I mean, marching, it was just a real mad feeling, but I just loved that feeling then, you know. And I wouldn't say it was into the drugs, it was into the lifestyle and the people. Do you know what I mean? It kind of, you know, I was going to buy, you know, cannabis in this kind of underbelly of society, you know, this part of society that was hiding away from society, from the law. You know what I mean? And kind of in this underbelly, you know, this subculture, I was kind of entered that. And then what came with that was this subculture was an access to different subcultures within that subculture. You know, the next one was speed, you know, and then it was acid.
There was times when he was in heavy addiction. It's he disliked me because he couldn't get away with it because I knew what he was up to before he'd even started doing it. He'd say to his mum something, you know what I mean, or Donna and what have you. And of course I'd tell him and I'd say, load of crap. It's not. And that's what was happening. I think he disliked me. In fact, he said he hated me because he knew he couldn't get away with nothing with me, where he could with his mum.
But I think deep down I knew he was really bad. And to be honest, you feel a bit, there's nothing he can do unless I want help, and I knew that, but it made me feel awful really, and I was forever justifying for him, and I think that's sort of being a mum, you know. The mum thing comes in where you're constantly protecting him, but as I say, I knew he'd got a problem, but I just, and deep down, you don't know how to handle it.
You know, I was always a good communicator, so I was always a good blagger. And I was always kind of quite analytical in my thinking and that as well, so I'd always kind of try and find a way into something. So I ended up kind of being, you know, through the people that I'd met, I'd kind of ended up being a commercial burglar. So one of the things I was a burglar for years, but I can honestly say that, I've never been in anybody's house, never burgled anybody's house. But having said that, I've burgled, kind of shops, businesses, pubs, clubs, council depots. Do you know what I mean? Kind of anything to kind of get some money. The stuff that I used to kind of look for, or we used to look for, was cash. In this order, cash was the top one. Cigarettes were the next one down. Designer clothes, plant hire, so tools, and then toiletries. Where is he? He's taking the piece, man.
Chase me and run down here. He's expecting me to keep running down here.
First time I met Paul, I was driving up the Allen Rock Road, and I was with a friend, a mutual friend of ours, and as we got to the traffic lights of the Allen Rock Road at the Rock pub, there was just this kind of sea of people, and you could obviously see there was something going on there. And when we got out of the pub, when we pulled over, and we could see the people partying. You could see Paul fighting with 3 other fellas, like, do you know what I mean? So that was how I met Paul the first time. And then the next time I met Paul was shortly after I'd first smoked heroin down in Seven Oaks. When I came back and I kind of wanted to get, wanted to do more, I met Paul and we Paul had the connection where what we needed, and he showed me how to run heroin on a farm. So Paul taught me everything I know about heroin, really. We sat here for long enough, we could probably point.
Yeah.
You can point people out.
It's just the mannerisms, the way people are acting. Do you know what I mean? It's like a shop. When somebody does a bit of shoplifting, you've got a store detective, and as soon as a shoplifter walks in the store, he knows who's doing the shoplifting.
Yeah.
You can spot them a mile off by the behaviours, the way they act, that sort of stuff.
I wonder if we used to get arrested all the time. I had enough. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. So I was sick of the life that I was living, the people that I was hurting, and I'd just had enough. But luckily there was systems in Birmingham and Solihull where there was treatment available, so I was fortunate there. So this is my good friend Sati's here. Sati, it's been long, 7 years? 7 years?
8 years.
8 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Sorry, 2008. I've got
6.5.
7 years.
Yeah, since we walked into so 6.5 years since we walked into rehab, and it don't seem that long, does it?
No. Time goes quick, doesn't it?
Fast, man. Well, it's gone quick. I suppose the thing is that I suppose time's gone quick because we've moved on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember mind you, you was the first person I saw.
Yeah, I remember that.
When I walked in.
I remember walking out a group. We just finished the group, and as soon as I walked out, I saw you guys just standing there. 12 steps. We were introduced to 12. We like to go and do that. I remember, after the groups going back to the house and
asking each other, are you going to fucking do that? Are you going to go to meetings? Nah, fuck that, I'm not going to go. Oh, I just say that. You know, I tell you going to go then. Nah, fuck that, we're not going to go. And we used to go to the meetings, I hear the same. People sharing who used to say that. You know what I mean? When I first heard about the fellowship or the 12 steps, oh, we're not going to do that. And at the end, they did, you know, they kept going to the meetings and kept, you know, doing the right things and kept them clean. I was depressed in there, weren't I? You know what I mean? Everyone noticed that apart from me, because I was really down, wasn't I? Yeah. And you know, you helped me a lot in there, Jason. You know what I mean? Brought me out of what they call it, out of.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
What was it? What was the? What they used? Do you remember when they used to give us like we had to say things before?
Change our objectives.
Mine was something like, I'm not the centre of the universe.
Yeah. I had, once I had something, keep away from Jason. I didn't understand why.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, you know what I mean? See you, mate.
And you sat.
Kid, mate. And keep up. Good work, mate.
And you. Good to see you.
And you, mate. Yeah. Hopefully see you soon and...
Yeah. Get on your level 3.
Yeah. Will do.
See you later.
Take care, right?
All right.
I remember the first phone call I made to my mum, and I said to her, Mum, Jason's back. Because it had chipped away at his personality over such a long period of time that I'd actually forgotten how nice he was.
Jason, what are you doing this weekend?
This weekend, I'm shooting a film for Solihull Integrated Addiction Services, which is SIAS in Solihull. I ended up filmmaking because when I was in rehab, the films that they were showing us were inappropriate. Well, not inappropriate, they were American, they were old. You know, there was, you know, the 1970s and the 1980s, you know, American stuff. And say again?
Couldn't relate to them.
No. So 1970s, 1980s, I couldn't relate to the films, and I stood up and said, I'm going to remake those films, having had no experience in filmmaking whatsoever. And that was how I ended up getting into filmmaking. I did a college course, really enjoyed it, and then just progressed on from there. Started a film production company, and started I Saw Media really, and that was how it started.
It was this well-crafted and powerful film that he wins the award for. Since graduating, he's found himself back in prison, but this time through choice, teaching filmmaking skills to prison inmates. He's also developing a documentary about recovery from addiction. So the David Rose Award for 2014 goes to Jason Turner.
You would never see somebody actually apparently injecting themselves with a drug on television. So actually seeing something like that in a student film is on the one hand quite shocking, and it was meant to shock, but on the other hand impressive that A, it was so accurate, and that's obviously because of Jason's own background, and looked so realistic when obviously it wasn't. It was being reconstructed like that for the camera.
We had a conversation about who would be a good actor or presenter for his next film, and I said I'd seen Benjamin Zephaniah on Question Time the night before, and he's very dynamic. He's a local guy, he knows the area, looks out for people who don't necessarily have a voice. And next thing I know, a few days later, Jason's got Benjamin in his kitchen discussing a contract.
My name is Benjamin Zephaniah, and I actually left this prison over 30 years ago when it was called Windsor Green. Back in the day, I was in exactly the same position as many of you.
Cut!
Your hand. It's Jason. How are you? I'm going to send you over some videos later on to see.
He's a funny boy. He inspires me every day for little everyday things, but I had already got on the path of changing my life before I met Jason. However, I would say he inspires me every day with the things he does and the things he does for people, the love that he shows me, the acceptance of my past that he has. Because a lot of guys couldn't deal with a woman that used to sell their body, but never even comes up, and I know it doesn't affect him, so he's very accepting and loving towards me. So yeah, he inspires me every day.
7 years. There was more pace to it early on, and I just kind of try and remain teachable today, and be teachable, and that means, if that means bringing spiritual aspects into my life, then, I'm all for it.
I've made some tea. Do you want some?